Hey everyone, welcome to another match of Temur Snow Control. Today we are playing Amulet Titan. Opening hand is pretty bad, there was just way too many lands. This hand seems better. We have a turn 1 Arkham's Astrolabe. Turn 2 we can have Ice-Fang come down, or we can keep mana up for Remand. We have a nice curve going. Force of Negation draw off of Arkham's Astrolabe is pretty good. It's pretty obvious from our opponent's turn 1 play that they are playing Amulet Titan. Secure Tribe Scout comes down. We draw our third land. And let's see what our opponent plays. Odds are anything non-creature, we're just going to force a negation it because we just don't want it at all. Explore something I would actually prefer remanding. Just to, blank them for a turn and we get the draw at the same time, so why not? Next turn, if we want to be aggressive, we can just force a negation it if we really don't want it to resolve. We draw a second force of negation, which is actually pretty good. At this point, I'd be tempted to play Euro. Not that we're under any pressure, but I guess get out of the way, draw another card, and also ramp us into a fourth land quickly. Cryptic Command draw off of Euro, which is actually pretty cool. That's going to be powerful because at this point, anything non-creature is essentially going to be countered. And once we get to untap, we can just keep our mana untapped and then counter draw a creature or non-creature spell. So explore this time. Yeah, I definitely want to cripple our opponent as much as possible in terms of land drops. This is one way to do it. Probably would let the second one go. Yeah. Again, not too concerned about a Primeval Titan coming down that turn, so we get our next Force of Negation, our third one. Definitely don't have any rush right now to attack or put pressure on the field. We just want to make sure we control our opponent as much as possible. Radiant Fountain comes down, they're going to start gaining some life. Not too concerned at the moment. We do run Blood Moon main, so this is definitely a creature we want to counter. Counter draw makes sense here. We get Jace from our draw. Dryad comes down. Kind of annoying, but it is what it is. We draw another land. I guess at this point that's okay because we can crack it, go get another land, and then hard cast Euro. Which is exactly what I'm going to be doing. The only concern here would be that, they can cast Primeval Titan next turn. We can't do anything about it. It's not like we have any spells in our hand that can do anything about it. The draw does show us Blood Moon, which means next turn Blood Moon is definitely coming down. So we just need to survive one more turn and make sure prime time doesn't come down. Yeah, so our opponent has plenty of land. They're gaining life off of Radiant Fountain as well. So let's see if Primeval Titan comes down. This is kind of moment of truth. Karn instead. So we have an answer for this. Definitely going to counter it. I choose Jace, which is kind of interesting. I would have stuck to either using Force of Negation or Ice-Fang as our pitch spell, but I chose Jace instead. I find that curious considering I could have controlled our opponent's draws, but I made the choice. I stuck with it. So we're gonna bring Blood Moon down almost certainly. And we're gonna attack. So we draw another Ice-Fang. And now our opponent has a bunch of mountains. And let's see if they have a response to that. Summoner's Pact. Here, the concerning part is that if we let Summoner's Pact resolve, they get Primeval Titan, and if they have any way to bounce our Blood Moon back, then it's pretty much game over. So we have to counter our their Summoner's Pact, I should say. So we've been pretty lucky with Force of Negation draws. But hey, that's why it's in the deck. So they're going to start putting pressure on us. That's okay. I mean, they kind of have no choice here. I will bring down Ice-Fang to take out the creature that's the most annoying. Let's see who I went with. Yeah, and our opponent, rightfully so, decides to concede. So what do we bring in? So artifact removal is pretty important for Amulet. We just have to assume our opponent's playing it. Disdainful Stroke for Primeval Titan makes sense. Veil Summer is useless. Anger of the Gods, arguably useless. They do have quite a few small creatures, but it's just going to miss too much. It's not worth it. I really didn't like Jace in this matchup, it would seem, because it looks like I'm going to remove him. Again, if Jace does resolve, we get to control our opponent's draw, which is very important. Mana Leak does seem kind of useless here. It becomes irrelevant too quickly. So I think that was correct. Our opening hand is pretty good. We have an answer to Amulet early. And we can put down a threat. We can put down Euro. We draw another Ice-Fang. And we're going to have a slow start. Yep. Amulet Titan without Amulet seems pretty anemic, but hey, it is what it is. It's definitely not my style deck. So, yeah, given the fact that our opponent is also having a slow start, it makes sense to play Cindervines right now and not play Ice-Fang end of their next turn. I just don't see the need in that. We can start pinging them for non-creature spells right away. So why not? Reclamation Sage comes down just in time to destroy Cindervines. That's alright. We draw Astrolabe. And I think it would make sense to put Euro down right now, get another land onto the battlefield, and then play Astrolabe. Draw Force of Negation, which is perfect. And now we wait. Karn. Karn is just never going to survive this. Probably going to get shocked with Reclamation Sage. That's okay. Disdainful Stroke is actually a great draw. And it kind of changes my plan of potentially playing Jace this turn. Instead, yeah, I think it makes way more sense to wait. Let's see if I rush him out. I don't think I do, considering I can't really protect him. So I think it's worth a turn to wait and play Ice-Fang instead. Explore. I think I'm going to let that go. Yeah. Given that we have a pretty hard answer to Primeval Titan, I'm less concerned about Explore. So we'll get pinged again for 2. I think at this point would make sense to bring in our Ice-Fang. At least get a draw out of him and then chump block, essentially. Huntmaster is a pretty good top deck. It means we can start grinding potentially as of our next turn. We still have to be weary about the fact that Primeval Titan can come down at any point. So we draw another Ice-Fang. And again, the idea here is, do we rush and just tap out and take a risk, or do we wait? In theory, I'm in no rush. But it looks like I decided to start putting pressure. So either our opponent has it or doesn't have it. He does. Primeval Titan comes down. We wouldn't have been able to counter it anyway, actually. So that is actually... it actually works out. If we had waited, we would have waited for nothing. We would have blanked a turn. So Primeval Titan comes down, and this is the interesting part here. How do we survive? Because if we can't deal with Primeval Titan, then it's going to be a problem. Now, if Huntmaster dies this turn, we could at the very least cast Uro next turn, but it wouldn't be enough, right? At that point, with all the Primeval Titan triggers. What our opponent doesn't have right now is Amulet. And that's brutal, because now we've lost our graveyard, right? Field of the Dead is also on the battlefield, which is a problem. So what do we do here? The good thing is that we're not going to do anything this turn. We're going to let our opponent attack in with their Primeval Titan, and we can kill with our Ice-Fang. So it looks like our opponent is not on the Valakut play here. Huntmaster is going to flip, at the very least. Now, it makes sense to just kill Sakura Tribe Scout here, because we have an answer to Primeval Titan once it does attack us. So Primeval Titan is going to attack in, of course. A bunch of triggers are going to go on this attack right now. Let our opponent do his thing. And now we got to start scrolling in our Xmage client. So Field of the Dead is going to trigger quite a few times. And we're going to have to start dealing with a bunch of 2/2 zombies. Good thing is that Ice-Fang is definitely dying this turn. Opponent's a bit slow with their triggers, but it's okay. Ice-Fang is going to come down, kill Prime Time, sacrifice itself, which is always nice. We draw a second Huntmaster of the Fells. There goes Primeval Titan. Great. Now, we did cast one spell this turn. We can choose to cast a second and have Huntmaster of the Fells flip back. I mean, we're not going to have anything useful come into our graveyard anytime soon, so just casting Snapcaster Mage and wasting his Enter the Battlefield trigger is a plan. Especially given the fact that our opponent's creating a bunch of creatures. Now, our opponent casts 2 spells as well, so we're not obligated to cast Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, and it looks like I don't cast them, which is fine. Our Huntmaster didn't flip. I was so sure that 2 spells were cast last turn, but I must have miscounted. But that's okay. Second Huntmaster's coming onto the battlefield. That's going to be great. A second Primeval Titan right now would be pretty devastating. Just purely because of the amount of zombie triggers. Engineer explosives. Now, what's hilarious about this is that it's coming down for 4, and I have an answer for it, which is really, really funny. Because that would have been game over. If that resolved, it would have been game over. Alright. Our Xmage interface here is struggling a bit, but That is quite a few zombie tokens. So we're going to be doing a bunch of chump blocking here. We can kill 3 of their zombies, which is decent. Yeah, those 2 also take out secure. That should be good. We still survive. We have 10 life. We won't be able to take too many more swings. So this draw will be important. It's a mountain. Not what we wanted. I think at this point I have no choice but to cast Jace. Can't just keep it in our hands any longer. Yeah, now the odds of me protecting Jace are relatively low given the amount of tokens that are out there. So I'd rather just draw 3 and see what I get. Blood Moon comes down, which is actually really important. Really, really important. So what I would do here is put the Wooded Foothills away and Snapcaster. And get that Blood Moon out immediately. That's going to stop this zombie generation at the very least. We're also casting 2 spells here, which means we are flipping our Ravager of the Fells back. Which is good, because we get another chump blocker, and we gain 2 more life. And if our opponent casts nothing this turn, they might as well just quit, because we're going to have 2 Huntmaster of the Fells triggers, and I don't see how they can bounce back from that. I'm assuming Jace is going to be their focal point. But again, because of Blood Moon, they're pretty locked. And our opponent quits. Yeah, so that was GG. Our opponent's staring down 2 Huntmasters, a Blood Moon, which has locked them out of any color other than red, which means they can't even cast a creature that would help them produce green, nothing. And we were able to lock them out. Now, that took a bit of patience. It took a bit of discipline to know when and how to deploy our threats and when and how to deploy our control spells. We didn't draw as many counter magic in this game compared to game 1, but I think overall we had more than enough answers and more than enough tools at our disposal to deal with a deck like this. And we are pretty well positioned to deal with decks that are essentially combo decks. So, you know, our opponent didn't really have a chance. We do run main board Blood Moon, which is pretty brutal, especially for Amulet Titan, specifically for Amulet Titan. So that was pretty easy on our part. We just had to be patient, like I said. I hope you enjoyed that match. Hope it was interesting. Hope it wasn't too long for you. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. If you enjoy my content in general, subscribing would help me out quite a bit. Help grow the community. Let me know that you are interested in seeing more. And yeah, you'd also get notifications when new videos are released. Thanks, and have a good one.